ArmstrongEconomics.com is saying Trump is taking us into World War III. And yes, he is, but I'd say we're already in it. It's just by proxy for now. Hey everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. Well, we're going to get into this wars and rumors of wars today in regards to Trump and Russia and all that. And like I said, we've been at World War III for a while now, since at least February 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine itself and started the war. And so NATO and the US have been fighting a proxy war through the Ukrainians, who have lost millions in this war, dead and, of course, wounded. But they've lost millions of people in this war that doesn't seem to have an end. And I don't think it will until Russia has taken all of Ukraine. But anyway, we were talking about this a couple days ago, how Trump was taunting Russia as a paper tiger and told Zelensky on the sidelines of the UN meeting that he will help Ukraine win all of its land back. And the so-called peace president goes all in with the neocon warmongering wing of his party. And so we've already covered that part. And now today, Armstrong Economics is saying that Trump is definitely taking us into World War III. The neocons are advising Trump all is lost. The computer will be correct, so buckle up. If September proves to be the high for the euro, things can change starting in October. Trump may think he can put pressure on Russia to stop the war, but he may get a reality check. He has no idea what he's playing with. These neocons will never accept peace with Russia. Their entire lives have been filled with hatred of Russians. Putin is well aware. There will never be peace with the West. And Trump has just signed the death warrant for the United States. China will emerge as the financial capital of the world after 2032, just like the London bankers couldn't see that World War I would end the domination of Britain. They voluntarily got into a war that destroyed them all because of the ethnic hatred in the Balkans. History repeats. This is our turn. And here's a picture of Zelensky playing guitar naked in a comedy routine, saying Trump is destroying our future for this, question mark. I am embarrassed to be an American. Yeah. If you're supporting weirdos like that, I agree. And there you go. Now, to go along with that, NATO has been spouting off all week now how they might try to shoot down Russian jets on the false pretext that they violated its airspace. And there's been talk about that back and forth between NATO and Trump this past week. So if it turns out that Trump's flip-flop on Ukraine was just him paying lip service to NATO's goal of inflicting a strategic defeat on Russia, and he doesn't ultimately escalate U.S. involvement, then some of the bloc members might try to down Russian jets over the Baltic in order to finally force his hand. And they might. I wouldn't put it past him at all. As Trump declared on the sidelines of the UN meetings that he supports NATO shooting down Russian jets that enter its airspace, but added that American backing afterwards would depend on the circumstances. Secretary of State Mark Rubio signaled earlier in the day that the U.S. would not support this shooting down of jets unless the Russian jets are attacking. NATO released a statement around the same time applying its willingness to shoot down the Russian jets, with Chief Mark Rutte later clarified would be decided on a case-by-case basis. So I think it's just more bloviating and boasting and puffing out of the chest by NATO, but you never know. If they shoot one of them down, then it's game over. It's, escalation immediately. And then from Andrew Korobico again of his newsletter, the SVR has revealed, that's the Foreign Intelligence Service of Russia, that British and French troops are already in Odessa, Ukraine. So they're out, like Russia's been saying all this past week, we're already at war with NATO. I mean, let's just face it, they're in Odessa and we're already at war with them. They're directing the war for Ukraine. They have been since day one. But now it's really coming out, as direct Western intervention in the conflict is now arguably turning into a fait accompli, a done deal. It's just a question of how Russia will respond and whether the U.S. will then be pulled into mission creep. So Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, the SVR, published a report warning about the EU's plans to occupy Moldova, which holds its next parliamentary elections on Sunday. According to their sources, large-scale protests are expected after the ruling liberal globalists falsify the vote, following which President Maya Sandu will request help to put down what she'll frame as a Russian-backed revolt. SVR also repeated last winter's warning about threats to Russian troops in Transnistria, independent of the aforesaid scenario. So if you don't know, Russia has an enclave in Europe inside of Moldova itself called Transnistria. It's all Russian. It's part of Russia itself. It's actually a state of theirs, but it's not connected by land to Russia itself. So on that topic, they revealed that a NATO landing is being prepared in Ukraine's Odessa region to intimidate Transnistria. According to the available information, the first group of career military personnel from France and the UK has already arrived in Odessa. This bombshell comes less than a week after Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov confirmed during an ambassadorial roundtable discussion that Russia would consider any foreign troops in Ukraine to be legitimate military targets. While rumors have abounded since the beginning about Western troops in Ukraine and not just mercenaries, even if the latter are active servicemen on leave out of uniform, Russia hadn't hitherto confirmed this. Ergo, its repeated threats to target them if they deploy there. The context within which SVR reported the presence of French and UK troops in Odessa concerns Europe's, Ukraine's, and U.S. warmongers' efforts to manipulate Trump into escalating U.S. involvement in the conflict. That led to Trump flip-flopping on Ukraine, as we just discussed, and even approving NATO downing Russian jets if they're accused of violating the bloc's airspace, which, of course, would risk emboldening them to stage a provocation for pulling him into mission creep, even if it's really all just sarcasm or 5D chess on his part, like some believe, which is nonsense. All the while, reports have swirled about the Western security guarantees he, or at least his team, envisions for Ukraine, which could include a no-fly zone and even Western troops over and in at least parts of it. All of this is relevant with respect to the Romanian-Moldovan flank of this conflict, which at this analysis here, from over the summer explains, can be used as NATO's launchpad for the aforesaid scenarios. Given what the SVR just revealed, and there's no reason to doubt their sources, no SVR sincerity in publicly reporting what they just discovered, some uninformed Western troops, French and UK, are already in Ukraine. To make matters even more sensitive, they're in Odessa, which Russians consider their own. Even though it's not in the Kremlin's crosshairs, Russians still hold it close to their hearts for historical reasons, after their ancestors built that city from the ground up, thus making it all the more provocative that the French finally began acting on their speculative plans from early 2024. Putin must now decide whether to treat them and the Brits there as legitimate targets, exactly as Lavrov said Russia might do, or hold back for now to avoid the escalation that those two want for pulling Trump into mission creep. And I'll stop it there. I think you get the point. But yeah, it's just a matter of time, guys, before this kicks off into a bigger war and NATO and the U.S. get directly involved. And don't forget, they're having that big meeting here in the U.S. of 800 generals and admirals. Everyone brigadier general or above has to attend. Over 800 officers, I'm assuming, are going to be in one place for this meeting, which I think is rather stupid. But, do you want them all taken out at once? I'm not sure if that's the case, but the meeting is scheduled for next week anyway. And you wouldn't have that kind of an unprecedented meeting unless you're planning on a war, and maybe multiple wars, because don't forget, the United States still has naval forces and Marines stationed off the coast of Venezuela in the Caribbean. So that's another area I'm keeping my eye on. And they're interdicting drug boats, and they have been all week. And killing people just with impunity. Trump thinks he's judge, jury, and executioner. It's absolutely ridiculous. So there's another area that we need to keep our eyes on. But that will be it for this particular segment. So, wow, guys, just so much going on. It's so hard to keep track of everything, but I'm doing the best I can. So, don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for all that we do. I put a lot of stories here that we haven't been able to post anywhere else. And let's see, there's almost 3,000 of them here now, as we just crossed over 2,800 stories, articles, videos, and so on. So if you'd like to subscribe to the website and get updated every time I put a new post up, just click on the Subscribe Contact Johnny tab. Or there's a box like this at the bottom of every article as well, where you just type in your email, click on subscribe, and then every time a new post comes up, you'll be notified. And Don't Speak News at Proton Mail is how you would contact me if you wish to send links or what have you. And then if you'd like to support us, we're listener supported only. I thank everyone who's been supporting us this past month. It's been absolutely incredible, and thank you so much for that. Without you guys, we don't stick around. So channel support's here. All the links to support us are right there. And Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, all the places to find us under this tab. If it ever decides to change the page here. And you're watching in real time, you have some trouble with the website. But anyway, Rumble, BitChute, Telegram links are all under this tab. All the places to find us around the internet are listed there. And that'll be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.